So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Digital 8 camcorder. I'll sacrifice that first before my High 8, especially the TRV350, since that camcorder is a bit grumpy these days, doesn't like to work sometimes. So I'll stick these tapes in. I'll record onto the tape, and I'll stick that recording in this video, so you'll see how these work for actual video recordings. And if the Digital 8 works just fine with these, then I'll stick it in my my High 8 camcorder here too, and see how that works. Alright, so I've got this TDK Data 8 cassette ready to go. Here's my Sony DCR TRV350 Digital 8 camcorder from 2004 or 5. It's been good knowing you, buddy. Consider this your punishment for breaking for no reason. So there's an ordinary Sony High 8 MP cassette, garden variety. Now here's something I'm interested in. When this camcorder starts playing the tape, let's say the tape has actual computer data on it, will the camcorder see that as a Digital 8 recording or an analog recording where it'll have to spin down the record head? Okay. It does see it as a Digital 8 tape, which probably means there's nothing readable on it, but let's press play. No, it looks totally blank. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll stick this tape, you know, it sounds just fine, it sounds just normal. It doesn't seem like the tape is, it's the head drum's not making a louder than normal sound, so the tape's not, you know, really rough feeling. So, I mean, it could very well be ordinary Video 8 tape, but we don't know for sure. Perhaps someone watching this video can tell me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to eject the tape, stick it in my High 8 camcorder. I'm going to switch camcorders here, so I'm going to start filming this video with the Digital 8. And we'll see what the data, presumably, looks like on a played back through an analog 8mm camcorder. So just a sec while I swap camcorders. Alright, here's my High 8 camcorder that I've been filming this video with up to this point. In goes the TDK Data 8 tape. Now here's something interesting. Will this camcorder, this is presumably like a Video 8 tape and not a High 8 tape, so the camcorder is going to see it as a Video 8 tape and not a High 8 tape, which means if we want to record on a Data 8 tape, this camcorder is going to operate in the Video 8 fallback mode, so we won't get the full video quality. But let me go into the play mode and stick out the LCD. Press play and see what it looks like. No, it ain't gonna do anything. There might be data on there, but the camcorder doesn't attempt to translate it into a video signal. But it is playing, as seen by the animated logo here. Tape counter doesn't move when there's no legible information on the tape. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna stop it and rewind. And I'm going to switch back to, turn my exposure up here, I'm going to switch back to this camcorder, and now I'm going to record video onto a Data 8 tape. So let's see what how a High 8 camcorder performs with a Data 8 tape. Okay, we are now recording on a TDK Data 8 cassette. Here's something weird. The camcorder does not say whether it's a Video 8 or High 8 tape. Neither indicator is showing up. That's very strange. I wonder if it'll do that upon playback? I don't know. But here's a High 8 camcorder operating with a Data 8 tape. And if we look at my Digital 8 camcorder, my High 8 camcorder did indeed go into Video 8 fallback mode. So it did record a quality reduced Video 8 recording onto the tape. But as you can see, playing back the footage in this Digital 8 camcorder, because that's how I get it onto the computer, it looks just fine. But now let's see how a Data 8 tape handles a Digital 8 recording. Now Digital 8, unlike, you know, any analog video format, a digital videotape format like Digital 8 or Mini DV, the quality of the tape has no bearing on the video and audio quality. As long as the tape is able to store the data, it'll look the same on any tape. But if the tape is damaged or really worn out, then you start to get dropouts. You get blocky video and audio dropouts and stuff like that. But as long as the tape is healthy, the brand or formulation or anything of a tape has no bearing on the quality of a Digital 8 or any DV recording. But just for yucks anyway, let's make a Digital 8 video recording onto a Data 8 tape. My Digital 8 camcorder isn't liking... I played back the Video 8 recording on the Data 8 tape, and now that it's back to the data, it's constantly switching between digital and analog mode. Alright, I'm putting it out of its misery. Oh, that's not good. This thing made a valiant attempt for like 45 seconds to start recording onto the Data 8 tape. And now it's failed again, and the light was actually dimming and brightening up while it was trying to play. I wonder if the tape actually jammed, or if it didn't like the tape, or if this thing's acting up like it usually does. And I hope it hasn't eaten the tape. Well, I think C3130, I think that is a general tape eating error, which means this thing's probably screwed up again. Turn the light off. Probably not going to eject. Yeah. Alright, excuse me for half an hour while I beat this thing with my fist and try and get it to eject again. Okay, it didn't take too much beating to get it to spit out the tape, and it seems to be working now. So here's a Digital 8 camcorder operating on a TDK Data 8 cassette. And once again, Digital 8, the quality is totally unaffected by the quality of the tape, as long as the tape's not damaged or worn out, and it can actually store the data. It has no bearing on the quality whatsoever, so there's really not going to be any difference here. This is basically just a test to see that a Digital 8 camcorder can record onto a Data 8 tape. Okay, so that seems to work just fine. The TDK tape seemed to be perfectly capable of recording both analog and digital video footage. However, if you use one in a high 8 camcorder, it goes into Video 8 fallback mode, yielding lower quality video. So I want to try every brand of tape, see how they perform. So that was TDK. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's not. Oh dear. This thing ain't out of the water yet. Oh geez, I hear crinkling tape. Oh no. I hope I didn't lose my test recordings. Oh, I hate this camcorder. Excuse me while I try and not destroy this tape. Okay, I got the tape out safe and sound. Now let's see how an iMation tape performs in a camcorder. And it also has a 3M logo. Was iMation a brand of 3M? I didn't think it was, but maybe it is. So yeah, let's see how an iMation / 3M tape performs for camcorders. I was thinking with regards to my Digital 8 unit here eating a tape, one thing I read, someone suggested on one of the few web pages I found with someone asking about these Data 8 tapes, Someone said that Data8 tapes have a different lubricant on the tape that's more suited to a tape drive and occasional use rather than frequent use in a camcorder, and so that could cause these to, you know, not work so great in camcorders. And I thought, well, maybe that's what was going on with this. But knowing this camcorder, I think it probably just ate the tape like it very occasionally does. So let's see how this tape performs, first in this Hi8 camcorder. Okay, and here is a Hi8 camcorder recording onto an iMation/3M Data8 cassette. Next, let's see how the Digital8 does. And here's how a Digital8 camcorder does with an iMation/3M Data8 tape, and I suspect that it's probably doing just fine. Let's try out these verbatim cassettes. Let's see how they perform in camcorders. I'll use this tape, and I will first try it in the Hi8 camcorder. See how it does. Okay, this is how a Hi8 camcorder performs with a verbatim Data8 cassette. Now let's try the Digital8 camcorder. And here's a Digital8 camcorder recording onto a verbatim Data8 cassette. And presumably it is also doing just fine for that. Alright, let's see how an exabyte exatape Data8 tape performs, the inventor of the Data8 format. So we'll try this tape first in the Hi8 camcorder and then in the Digital8. And here is how a Hi8 camcorder performs with an exabyte exatape Data8 cassette. And the camcorder is operating in the Video 8 fallback mode. So none of these tapes, if I decided I wanted to use these tapes for ordinary video recording, they wouldn't be suitable for my Hi8 camcorder, because my Hi8 camcorder would be running in Video 8 fallback mode, yielding lower quality video, and no one wants that. My videos are bad quality enough. I could, however, use all of these in my Digital8 camcorder. They would work just the same as a Hi8 or Digital8 tape. So let's try the exabyte tape in the Digital8 camcorder. And here's how an exabyte exatape Data8 cassette works on a Digital8 camcorder. And we'll move on to the next tapes. Alright, here's where things start to get interesting. This is the Sony Metal HG Video 8 cassette, not a Data8 cassette. So let's test this tape. First starting with the Hi8 camcorder. And it's too bad, this is such a nice tape, but it's of no use to use in my Hi8 camcorder because my Hi8 camcorder will operate in the Video 8 fallback mode, which is too bad since this is a really nice tape. And here is this camcorder, Hi8 camcorder, recording on a Sony Metal HG Video 8 cassette. Really nice. And I'm not sure I mentioned, in the little insert, I believe there's a date, or I thought there was like a copyright date on it. Maybe not. No, I guess not. I must have been thinking of something else. Well, we know it's from the earlier mid-90s. Just look at the picture of that camcorder. So, yeah, very nice tape, but too bad. Not useful in this camcorder because it's just running in Video 8 fallback mode. And also, I've just learned apparently this camcorder simply doesn't show the Video 8 or Hi8 symbol when it's running in Video 8 fallback mode. It just displays neither symbol. So when I thought it was maybe not able to determine what kind of tape it was dealing with, it knew to operate in Video 8 fallback mode. It simply doesn't show the indicator while it's doing that. So let's throw this tape in the Hi8 camcorder, and it will be the only time I use this nice tape in, sorry, I said Hi8, didn't I? Let's try this tape in the Digital8 camcorder, and this is the only time I'm ever going to use this tape in this particular camcorder, because I don't want to risk it getting eaten. But I'd have no problem using this tape in my TRV340, because that camcorder works just fine. But I wouldn't do that anyway when I've got now all these other lesser tapes. I'll just keep this tape nice and not use it, I guess, unless I ever want to for novelty purposes, but otherwise just keep it as a display piece since it's such a nice looking tape with nice looking case to boot. And here's the Data8 camcorder recording onto the Sony Metal HG Video 8 cassette. And yeah, I would expect this to work just fine. It's very, very ordinary to use a Video 8 cassette in a Digital 8 camcorder, because Digital 8 camcorder doesn't care if you're using a Video 8 or a Hi 8 or a Data 8. Well, the Sony Metal HG Video 8 cassette might be the coolest tape of the bunch, but this IBM Data 8 cassette is definitely the most obscure and most interesting. But I've just realized something only slightly disappointing, but not surprising. If we look at the bottom of the IBM cassette, and we look at the bottom of the Exabyte cassette, they are identical. Exabyte made the IBM cassette, and they're also the same on the other side. They got the same really narrow viewing window. But just the brand, an IBM 8mm cassette, is just super cool, and with that blue and black striped IBM logo on the casing to boot is just so cool. So let's see how this IBM tape performs in a camcorder, starting with this Hi 8 camcorder. I assume it'll be just the same as the Exabyte cassette, but let's find out. Here's how a Hi 8 camcorder performs with an IBM Data 8 cassette. Now, how many people can say that their YouTube video was recorded, in part at least, on an IBM tape? That's just so cool. That's totally awesome. The camcorder is operating in the Video 8 fallback mode. So now let's try the Digital 8 camcorder. And here's how the Digital 8 camcorder performs, recording on the IBM Data 8 tape. Now here's this IBM cleaning cassette. I've never had an 8mm videotape cleaner. I know I've always, wanted to get one, but they're quite expensive on eBay. You sure as heck can't find them in stores anymore, which is too bad. But they're really expensive on eBay. Well, now I have one, but of course, no clue if this is okay for camcorder use. I would assume it is. I mean, what could the difference be? But if anyone knows for sure, enlighten me, definitely. Here's a little insert that comes with it, 8mm cleaning cartridge. The instructions on how to clean say that the tape drives, like the IBM tape drives, that this tape was designed specifically for IBM tape drives, and it has data recorded onto it such that when you stick it in an IBM tape drive, it'll automatically begin play for the appropriate time, and then spit the tape out, thus completing a cleaning cycle. Obviously, that's not going to be the case for a camcorder, so we have no idea how long we're supposed to play the tape if we were to use this as a cleaning tape in a camcorder. I'm going to stick it in and see what it does, and I'll play it for 10 seconds. That's probably appropriate. And press play. Hopefully it doesn't switch back and forth between analog and digital modes. It is playing. There. That's about 10 seconds. There, I just gave these their first head clean. Hopefully that tape is actually appropriate for it. Very cool. Well, there you go. I'm sure that was just murder on both of my camcorders. I don't like to, do something like stick a non-camcorder approved tape in my camcorders, because I cherish both of these camcorders, even though the 350's kind of turning into junk now, so I don't care as much about that. But my Hi 8 camcorder, definitely, this is my favorite of all my camcorders, and I don't like to do something so impulsive as to stick a Data 8 tape in it and see how it runs. But I'm also quite the risk taker, and I like to see how things work out. That's why I stuck these in the Digital 8 first, just to make sure, you know, it wouldn't explode or anything, and I figure if the Digital 8 handles it just fine, the High 8 camcorder will too. There is, of course, the fact that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different brands of tape that I stuck in these camcorders, and one of the golden rules of 8mm camcorders, or 8mm video equipment in general, is stick to one brand of tape, because the different brands of tape have different lubricants on them, and if you use multiple brands of tape in succession, the lubricants mix together and it can make a sticky mess and clog your heads and all that stuff. Well, I've always used a mixture of Sony and Fujifilm, and I think a third brand of High 8 tape, and I haven't had any issues yet, and I've never cleaned the heads on these camcorders because I don't have a cleaning cassette. That was the first time I've ever used a cleaning cassette, was this non-approved IBM cassette on the Digital 8 here. I didn't run it through the High 8. And so yeah, you know, it's very valid. I think it's very possible that using multiple brands of tape in succession could be bad for your camcorder, but so far I've never had an issue with it. And I've still not had an issue with it after putting all these old tapes that haven't been touched in years in both of these camcorders, and they seem to have survived just fine. So yeah, these are really cool. I'm really glad I got a hold of these. They're just super cool. I don't think I need to keep all of them. I can think of 1 or 2 friends of the channel that I think I will offer some of these to. And yeah, I can think of 1 or 2 people who might be interested to have a few of these. So I'll definitely consider shipping some to them. But yeah, I'll very well keep and use these. They're not useful for this High 8 camcorder, because it runs in the Video 8 fallback mode, but they will be just fine for my Digital 8 camcorder, because the Digital 8 doesn't care. So I have a good handful of High 8 tapes. I have 7 High 8 tapes now that I can reserve for this camcorder, and then I have 1 other Video 8 tape that I already have, now all these Data 8 tapes and another Video 8 tape, and I can use those for my Digital 8 camcorders. Now, if anybody can tell me whether they know for sure, is it okay to use a Data 8 tape in a camcorder? If somebody knows the answer to that for sure, do let me know. But for now, there's all the Data 8 tapes that I got. That's totally rad. What a score. What a score for sure. So that was really cool.